Star. So anyway, there's a book called Harpo Speaks, which is actually a very good book. I read it, and it's all about he tells stories about him and his brothers. So if you're a Marx Brothers fan, that
I'll
would
wait.
definitely be the one to
I'll
read.
wait for the movie. As I said to Shazad Sheikh, I'll wait for the movie.
Oh my God, too funny. Gonna wait for the movie, huh? All right.
That was a good forced interruption the other day. I enjoyed that actually. You know, on
What?
the other program, your
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
seventh
yeah,
of the German.
yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed that because you know when you're not prepared.
Yep.
So I'm never prepared.
Never. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, what's there's a difference. So
Hang on, let me.
you did a very good job on Sermon from the German. We got lots of compliments on it. So that was a good. That was a very good show.
So scientifically, what was the thing that people liked scientifically, as opposed to just liking the whole program?
Um, I think it's the interaction, and I think it was just the spontaneity of it. And I think that was a good thing. Like people they like Brown Car Guy, they like Vicky. Everyone loves me. What's not to love? But then when we add you to the mix, it's a different dynamic. And I think that for everybody is
Because
one
I
of
go
those like,
hunting. I go hunting.
yeah, yeah, everyone loved it. It's like the same thing we do on this show, the cigar show. People love it. But
I
now
should.
I understand from a text message from our esteemed consigliere that he can't make it today because apparently 168 hours to prepare for the show isn't enough time for the star. Since he's
It's on this occasion. It's a schoolboy excuse. You know when you haven't done your homework, right?
yep. Oh, that's why.
When
It's
you haven't done your homework, you've
yeah.
got basically broadly two choices. You can turn you can turn up in class
Yeah,
and say, well, you know, the dog ate my homework.
right. Which is what happened to him.
Or no, this is the second one. Or you can say, or you could just not turn up to class.
Oh, he forgot to
And
turn up to class.
not turning up to class, it might be better because it leaves open the possibility of this, that there could be something more than this.
Hmm.
There might be some reasonable excuse at the back of this.
But there's
So
none.
it's slightly more face saving not to turn
No.
up.
All right. So basically, he didn't do his homework. So basically, what you're telling me is
I
the
don't know.
fans.
I don't know the answer. I don't have him
Oh,
here to answer that question.
we're
So
just going to assume he didn't do his homework, and the fans are going to
so
be
jury's
deprived
out.
of
Jury's out.
this. This is what the fans are going to be deprived of this week.
Play
Yeah.
my one. Play my
Oh,
one.
yours is the best. Here we go. Yeah,
Now
that's
I
really
like
good.
that. The reason I like that video, I'm not being vainglorious here. I know that one is me, yeah. But what I like about that one is I found, um, I believe that track is from Gotan Project.
I think
Now
so,
the
and I
reason
think YouTube's going to flag it that we make no money on the show. So,
YouTube can go and fuck themselves
hey,
royally.
before we talk
Okay.
about the track, and I'm going to run the intro, and then you can talk about the track. Today, I'm going to review the Don Emmanuel cigar that they were kind enough to send. They also sent, just so we're clear, this nice little lighter cutter, everything. So, yes, to Don Emmanuel, thank you so much. And I'm going to review the cigar during it, just so you know, the dry draw. And you had a
What are you
Davidoff, which we're
getting
going to
from
talk
the
about.
dry draw? What is it? Sort of like a cedary, chocolatey? Is it fruity, peppery? What do you get on the dry draw?
Kind of um, a dry draw. No, it's very peppery, I think, and it's a nice little has a nice little bite to it.
Okay, well then you can match that up with the first light up and see if that fits.
All right.
Now,
Anyway, before
if you don't mind too much,
yes,
I'm a bit cigared out. I had 5 cigars in a row yesterday,
please,
and I was going to talk to you about my cigar yesterday.
please, the Davidoff one.
Um,
But we did two things. Let's run the credits so we don't get in trouble, and
what
two,
the program's over?
no, we're gonna run the beginning credits.
Oh, the
Yeah,
titles. You mean. The credits
Yeah.
that go at the end
I
type.
listen. I've been drinking heavily, and as we like to say, Geo, and we'll worry about it later.
Mango
So let's
juice,
run the
mango juice, mango juice.
you little mango, you.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
With at least one person going
Welcome to
AWOL.
Habanos Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live. Every Saturday live.
Now we have the real, because last week we forgot. Now, quick thing, you were talking about the music from your short. Tell us about that
So
first.
that was I can never remember. Is it Gotham Project or Gotham Project?
Okay.
Anyway, it sounds a bit like Gotham. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now the reason why I like that track and the reason why I like their music generally is because it's actually relatively contemporary music, but for me it reminds me of 60s film noir,
Okay.
perhaps even 50s film noir. I mean, the way it plays out, it has this sort of like mysterious lurking in the shadows kind of detective-y kind of thing going on. And I like, I mean, like on my Cigar Noir stories, I use very, very old that music from movies
Right.
from the 30s and 40s, right? But I'm enjoying this kind of semi-contemporary noir stuff. It's very atmospheric, and for those who of you are watching, let me say it's something is under something that people generally don't talk about. I mean, you hear it in cigar lounges.
Right.
The music that you've got going on in the background, or if you're even, especially more so if you're sitting on your own on your headphones on or sitting in front of a TV, I tell you, your cigar experience goes to a different level when you've got the right
Right.
mood music set up. And I'm being very honest about
Yeah.
that. It does make a big difference. One of the cigar lounges, I really don't have any favorites, but I happened to be in Tom Tom yesterday,
Let me pick
and
that up for you. Okay.
and in TomTom they always have like two or three different playlists that are going on.
Right.
One is basically sort of like 50s 60s kind of jazz, then there's something then they have another list which is much more sort of Latin jazz, you could say,
Okay.
sort of like Cuban jazz or coffee
Mhm.
jazz or whatever you mean. What I mean is, so like a bit more bongo and a bit more sort of like Spanish lyrics. And well, I'm not sure which one is my favorite, but I'll tell you this, yeah. If you're on your own, one of my favorite things is jazz and cigars. Jazz is, because it's such a sophisticated art form, it's so
Right.
like classical music. Classical music has its sort of like visual element. You're listening to music, but there is some visual elements that are playing, especially if you understand music. But with jazz, you can just lose yourself. It's
Hmm.
such a surreal experience.
Yeah.
And I can't. So yesterday, so this conveniently brings me to yesterday evening, and I've for those who don't know what my Instagram account is, it's somewhere over there.
It's right
In,
there. Right there.
and literally in the last hour, I've put up stories and reels reflecting yesterday evening. Now, I hope you don't mind. I don't talk that much, Stephen, but I hope you don't mind if I go off on a little bit of a riff about yesterday.
No, no, please. I got a pillow here. I'm good to go. Knock yourself out.
Yesterday's cigar smoking was essentially in three parts. There was the pre-event cigar smoking. So I had an
Right.
event yesterday evening, a Davidoff event. I mean, I don't do shout outs, but on this occasion it was a Davidoff event. Um, so I was smoking at least from midday. I had an H. Upman half Corona, which is sort of like become my sort of very, very nice go-to. I might have to smoke one of those every day. I might even go and get one today.
Okay.
Um, it's highly recommended, relatively short smoke. It's meant to be a 30-minute smoke. I can extend it four times that much. It depending on
How
how
much you're
solid the
talking?
stick is,
Oh, I'm
how
sorry.
much
Go
you're talking, how solid the stick is,
ahead.
how little you've cut it, how
All right.
your smoking style, whether you're retrohaling or just puffing lightly. Actually, retrohaling makes my smoking go more slowly. Actually, but anyway, that's
Yep.
something else. So I had that. I had a Romeo Julieta short. Then came this event, which was, as I said, I don't do shout outs. It happened to be at, I think it was at Tom Tom in Belgravia, someplace like
Hey,
that.
vey. Yes, it is a Tom
Absolutely
Tom's.
amazing lounge. What a discovery.
Hello, Christian. Hello, Christian. So,
Oh, you know them. Oh, you know them.
I've heard of them. We might have bumped into them a couple times. Yes. So, wow.
Fabulous, fucking fabulous event for the following
Right, right.
reason. First of all, if the event logistics are absolutely amazing. The lounge is a private lounge, so you essentially get sort of 11-ish people, not 12, 11.
Mm, mm.
And in terms of event, for me, that works out really nicely because there's a group that you can talk to, and there's a group that is out of earshot, and they can do what they want to do.
All right.
The cigar that, and once again, I think I suffer from um, having low expectations on New World cigars.
Right.
So that is actually, it works out very well for me because I go in under expecting and having delivered back more.
Right.
I have to say, this is the second Davidoff I've had in the space of maybe 5 months. The last one being the one I don't even remember what it was. It was
The
something
year of
like,
the snake, my friend.
oh yes, of course.
That was your 2024 cigar of the year.
Can you believe that? A Davidoff.
A
Can
Davidoff.
you, and no one's putting a gun to my head because, as you know, I've got a big mouth, right? I don't have to say anything, yeah, or I
That's
could
true.
slag it off. No one put a gun to my head. Nothing. There is no skin in the game. There is no money in my pocket. There is no side-handed back. Yeah, I'm being very, very straight up. That was something I
Yeah.
enjoyed. I have to say, yesterday evening cigar, which was as far as I recall, it's called a Gran Toro size.
Okay.
So it's basically Toro length, but it's a really wide ring gauge. I think it was 58 ring gauge.
Nice. Okay.
I might be mistaken. Certainly, it was a heavy cigar. When we had it, it had weight. It was ram-packed full of tobacco.
Okay.
Um, it was a really great evening. We were pairing with Flor de Caña rum, which is apparently sort of started by Italians sort of 135 years ago.
Nice.
And we had three different aged rums: a 12-year-old, 20-year-old, and a 25-year-old.
Hmm. I had a 25-year-old. She was lovely. Go ahead.
I'm sure.
So, thank you.
I mean, the mid one was a bit. It had a kick to it. It had
Okay.
a spice kick to it. The young one was very easy to drink. The
All right.
older one, the 25-year-old, was basically a combination of both things. Very easy to drink, but with a hit. So it was. I
Nice.
loved it. We finished the bottles, by the way.
So there's a
Between
shocker.
11 of us.
Yeah.
Between
All
11 of us, we finished those three bottles.
right. There's a shocker. How many bottles did you finish?
Um, no. I'm being
Okay.
very genuine. That was the
Okay.
sharing thing. Now, I'll tell you one of the really nice things about having these kind of nice drinks and pairings at events is, apart from the fact that it brings everyone's inhibitions down a little bit,
Right.
etc., etc. Do these drinks, do these rums, do these whiskeys, whatever, do they add to the cigar?
Mm.
Here's my slightly controversial answer. Some lounges, when you have these events, I
Right.
want to say lounges, these cigar sampling rooms that close down for a private event, yeah.
Right.
Especially like yesterday, we had spectacular canapes,
Right.
Italian canapes, and I find for my palate, cigar, canape, and drink as a combination takes the excitement to a different level.
I agree.
As opposed to just a cigar and a drink.
Right.
Food has to be involved somewhere before, during, or after is a bit too late for me. It's got to be
Hmm.
before or during. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
that's the way I see these things.
Hmm.
Let me tell you about the cigar. First of all, let me say I and most people there, actually all people, found that cigar to be very complex.
Okay.
Let me say from the start, I found it almost Cuban in character. It
Excuse
had
me.
lots of different notes. It had chili peppers
Right.
and not chilies, not green chilies or red chilies, more like the paprika chili, sort of like
Right.
just
Right.
the dry. I can feel chili at the back of my mouth.
Okay.
It had slight cedriness. It was fruity, like a fruity chili. Not too chilly. It was quite balanced. It was quite balanced cigar, slightly cedry. Then it went leathery. Then in the middle, it was changing, as
Right.
Cuban cigars do. and this is not a Cuban cigar, but as Cuban cigars do, they tend to have thirds. They sort of like go in
Right.
thirds, or at least that's the way people talk about Cuban cigars. They talk about them in thirds. I don't know if that is more marketing than actuality.
Right.
Jury's out. Let's put it that way. Jury's out. Certainly, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Certainly that. So I guess you divide it into thirds, but I don't think those are equal. I think
Okay.
so. For example, I had I talked to you about the Selectos number 3 or 4 months ago. That's a pretty
Right.
linear cigar, but somewhere in the middle, for about 10 puffs, it suddenly jumps, and it consistently does that.
Right.
Right. So it's got a core. So you couldn't say it's a middle, beginning, middle, and end. It's sort of like it's one cigar which suddenly peaks in the middle and then it goes back down again. So different cigars have different characteristics depending on where the seco leaf or where the leaf in the middle, how long it is, and how sustained it is,
Right. Right.
etc. So this cigar. Now, one guy sitting next to me, a very good friend of mine, I've mentioned him several times, Zhao, was of
Oh.
the opinion that one of the things that this cigar was not delivering on was aroma. There wasn't
Oh.
much. So there was aroma, but we, as generally speaking, as Cuban cigar smokers, are generally spoilt
Right.
by much more balanced cigars that deliver a little bit of absolutely everything.
Right.
Okay. And aroma, certainly to my sensory palate, I think this is one of the olfactory elements of Cuban cigars. Is I've said this to you before. One of my favorite things is smoking a cigar up to about halfway point, walking out of the room, and coming back in and seeing how the room smells.
Right. Right.
Because you get a burst of it,
Yeah.
especially in as opposed to marinating the smoke. Of course, you get aroma, but it's when you come back fresh to that aroma, you can actually smell the aroma.
Right.
And I think he was right, because sniffing the smoke, and it wasn't that. So by the way, this is a very small negative aspect, right? Some people might say it's a big negative aspect, but
Right.
it didn't have the aroma quality, but it certainly had the taste and sort of retrohale, sort of like within the sinus. It's Cubanesque. Yeah, I might even put up a post saying Cubanesque, which is a high compliment in cigar terms, actually. So, what cigar am I talking about, by the way? This was the Davidoff Escurio, or Escuro.
Okay.
Escuro or Escurio? Let me pick up the band.
And we'll do a little close up.
Escurio.
Okay.
Escurio. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me
Okay.
1 second. So let's get this band together. I don't have a second of the cigar, because after that cigar, I smoked something otherworldly.
Ah.
So this is what I smoked yesterday evening. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, we can.
So that was the
Hmm.
Davidoff Escurio. Now, can you see the sort of like the crescents there, the green and yellow?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So there is the marketing guy yesterday evening. Actually, the head of Davidoff marketing, Roy Sommer, was in China on holiday or something. So he
Right.
normally is at these events. He's the one who leaned towards me about the Davidoff Year of the Snake and said, "Look out for the lemons."
Right. Right. Right.
Lovely guy. Wish he'd been there yesterday evening. Having said that, he had, I would say, second in command, Vaibhav Patel, there.
Right. Right.
And he gave us a very nice, neat, concise education on sort of like essentially the three levels of Davidoff cigars. You've got the white label Davidoff cigars, you've
Right.
got the Churchill label, and then
Those are
you
my
have.
favorite.
I don't know much about these, so I mean, you're better placed to educate me on these things. But
Yeah.
one of the things. So I don't consider myself a cigar snob, but actually I could be, because I smoke so
Right.
many Cubans, right? Okay,
Mhm.
but
And
when it comes
cigars.
to but when it comes to trying other cigars, actually this event, the Davidoff event was
Right.
basically, I was there because of, first of all, because of Christian, and secondly because I've had one fabulous experience from Davidoff cigars, and I
Right.
thought, well, hang on, there's something good that's going to happen, maybe again.
Right.
And so Vaibhav gave this little education on like there's three essential bands. Now this one, the one I smoked yesterday, you
Right.
see
Right.
Once again, let me show you the green and yellow.
Yep.
So basically, this represents, I think, I may have remembered this incorrectly, it's their sort of adventurer range. This
Mm,
is where they blend different leaves from different countries together.
okay.
All Davidoff cigars are rolled in, all or most, or all, they're rolled in Dominican Republic.
Right.
But this was essentially Brazilian leaves, and the
Nice.
wrapper I think is either Ecuador or Nicaragua. I think it was
Okay.
Ecuador, but I could be wrong. If I've made any mistakes, it's very easy. Anyone could Google it and send me really nasty messages. I have no problem with that. If I make a
Right.
mistake, there's no big deal. I'm not an expert on these things. Well, I humbly say that I am
Oh
actually,
my
but
God.
it is what
Hey,
it is.
really quick. One of our fans just said,
Mm,
because you're talking about pairings, he said he has a friend who smokes only short Churchills. And, because he likes midgets. But he
mm.
said what he does is he smokes basically, it seems, the same cigar with different drinks to change the pairing. So that's, I thought, an interesting thing.
Yeah, that depends. Yeah, exactly. Where people like. I mean, I'll try anything. If someone puts rum in front of me, I'll try it. Yeah.
Right.
But you do have your favorites, and
Right.
my favorite is Coke Zero. It's like I need something sweet that just clears my palate every single
Oh,
time.
okay.
Um, but some people say no. Some people it's different based on your experiences because
Right.
some people view cigars and whiskey as they think of that as almost as one product. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's
Nope.
what if that's what you're enjoying, that's what you're enjoying, right? That's fine. Anything that you're enjoying is fine.
Right.
Is there a right way to do something? Is there a wrong way to do something? I guess there's a traditional way of doing something.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the scotch and cigars for me is the traditional old school. I didn't have a big fat piece of steak this morning, but I did eat. But have a big steak, have a scotch, have your cigar. That's the old school, old
It's
world. That's how I like to
traditional.
soak it. Yeah.
It's an activity rather than an I don't know. It's it's a combined activity. Let's put it that
Hmm.
way.
I
It's not
agree.
just the cigar. It's not just the whiskey. It's not just the food. It's sort of like
Right.
a running activity. Okay. When it comes to cigar, so but if you go down a little bit more to the specifics,
Right.
what gets you the best? So if you come focusing on the cigar itself, how do you enjoy that cigar the most? In other words, what drink do you pair that with? I promise you, I've been around for a long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
No one's got a good answer for that. It's
Right.
what you're enjoying in the moment.
Right.
I drink Coke Zero all the fucking time with cigars because it cleans the palate and it allows me to taste the cigar more. Coke Zero
Interesting.
for two reasons. Two reasons. Because if you can drink Coke all the time with your cigars, and I smoke a lot of cigars, yeah,
Right.
you really want to minimize your sugar as much as possible, to be very honest with you.
Oh,
Okay?
wait a minute, let me get this straight.
Huh?
We're smoking cigars, but because we want to minimize our sugar, that's why we smoke Coke Zero.
Well, no, I know. These things they may sound ridiculous, right? Yeah,
Right.
but actually, it's been proven. Smoking cigars. I mean, when I say proven,
It
not
is.
proven
Like
by
I told you
medical
about,
studies. People who smoke cigars, have got better skin, they live longer, etc.,
that's
etc.,
you.
etc.
You say that tongue in cheek, but we've talked about the FT
I
article
don't
that
say
came out
no.
like
I
in
don't say tongue in
2000.
cheek. I
Yeah.
mean it. I genuinely
Well,
mean it. I
I
think
do
it's
too.
total fucking bullshit. It's total fucking bullshit. I don't mean this about. So I mean it's relating to cigars. When you're smoking a
Yeah.
cigar, you're smoking a pure leaf
Yep.
with no artificial uh, chemicals added,
Right.
etc., etc.,
Unless you're
etc.
at Arnie's house, then you have tequila, but that's okay.
Well, even tequila is a natural product, right? But
Yes.
what I'm trying to say is that when you smoke a cigar, it's. I think I've had this conversation with you before in a different context.
Yes.
People who do not smoke cigars or cigarettes do not know the difference between cigars and
And a
cigar
cigarette.
smoking and cigarettes and cigarettes.
Right.
They don't know. They presume they're very patronizing.
Yep.
They're very sanctimonious,
Yep.
but but also most people are don't really have a place to hide because for the last 30 to 40 years we've had the medical profession telling us that this is smoking is bad for you. Smoking is different in different contexts. It's like
Hmm.
saying, I don't know, I can't really think of anything
Well,
off.
here, let me,
It's
while you're
like,
thinking, let me just jump in really quick. In the FT, and I talked about this in 2001 or two, there was an article that either it's Cambridge or Oxford, one of those, lower tier schools, um, did a study about pure tobacco. And they said pure tobacco, the only pure tobacco is a cigar. And they said in their studies over, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, they found that pure tobacco, a cigar, will help with Alzheimer's, dementia, and whatnot, because the pure tobacco stimulates your brain.
well, it's
So,
giving
yeah,
you
I mean,
nicotine. It's giving you
right.
nicotine in a measured way.
Correct. And it's not chemicals, which is what a cigarette is, chopped
That's
up
right.
rat
That's right.
poison. Right.
That's right. And the reason why cigarettes contain all these chemicals is because it's chopped up tobacco that
Yeah.
is not humidified, so it has to be. They're preservatives essentially.
Right.
What a cigarette contains is no end of preservatives.
Right.
Okay,
Where the cigar
because
is a leaf.
cigars a leaf, and
Yeah.
that leaf deteriorates, which is why you have to keep it humidified at the
Right.
right temperature. This is why there's all this thing about it's just a fucking leaf, yeah?
Yeah.
It's just an organic leaf.
Yep.
You smoke it. Now, the sanctimonious people on this planet, and most of them these days, the sort of sanctimony comes from speaking from a point of ignorance with huge amounts of self-belief, which
Right.
is I mean, this is a different topic, what's completely, yeah. More people on the planet, more stupid people on the planet, more stupid people on the planet who think they're clever. This
Right.
world is going to come to naught when it comes to that.
Right.
So, if the educative process is there, the educative process is this: that when you're smoking a tobacco leaf, you're smoking a very organic
Yep.
product, dust to
Yeah.
dust, ashes to ashes kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are no end of benefits as well. Anything done in extreme can be negative for you, yeah.
Right.
But in terms of moderate, like whether it's moderate drinking, moderate eating. I mean, start with eating. Everyone eats,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It's ridiculous to gorge yourself. It's ridiculous to have a diet that's fixated on fat. You have
Right.
to have what's called balanced diet
Right.
that suits you and where you want to go, right? So not just where
Right.
you are in this current point. If you're losing weight, then you have to have another type of diet. If you've got a
Right.
medical ailment, you have another type of diet. Cigar smoking is tailored, well, not tailored. Cigar smoking is a very old world activity
Yeah.
that's been going on for a long time. It was for medical benefit, spiritual benefit, conviviality.
Mhm.
Actually, I could just go on and on and on about the benefits of it. Right
Yeah.
now, try explaining that to people who don't smoke. Well, they don't partake in this, so they haven't got a
Right.
fucking clue. They've got very high opinion of what you shouldn't do. Tell
Correct.
them don't fucking wear lipstick in the morning. There'll
Right.
be a
Right.
problem.
Right. I agree. Listen, I'm like I told you the story about the lady in New York City. I was standing on a corner smoking a cigar, and she looked at me. This is back when they had real buses, not the diesel and electric and all this crap. But and the buses would send out the black smoke. And I remember we were standing on the corner, and she moved away. Just this look like, "How dare you smoke a cigar?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're outside, relax." And then the smoke from the bus just went poof. And I looked at her and I said, "And you think this is going to kill you?" And I just walked away. And it was sort of like, "Calm down." So but for me, cigar smoking is it's very relaxing. It's like I get to chill, and I like that, or I get to think. Sometimes when I'm in a meeting and I want to think through things, I use my cigar. I light a cigar, and I'll ask if everyone's okay with it, and no one says no because we have their families, and I enjoy my cigar, and I enjoy a cigar in a meeting, and I'm good with that. But
I mean, we
keep
we 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 do spend time to time. No, I don't think we do it all the time. We do spend time justifying something. I don't feel the
I don't really
requirement.
justify my smoking. I just like it. I enjoy it. It reminds me of my grandfather and when I was a kid and in university. So to me, I like it, but it's not something I do. It's not something I do because of that. I do it because over the years, it's become one of these things. It's like golf. I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy smoking cigars. So it's one of those things. And let me just say this about the Mr. Don Emmanuel cigar. Here, let me get a picture for everybody. It
Mm.
is a non-Cuban. The draw is beautiful, the flavor is beautiful, and the smoke is beautiful. So it's right up there with my CAO Brazilian Amazon. So if you're looking for a new smoke, there you go, Don Emmanuel. And he's out of Miami, and I think there's only a couple stores that have it because he's a small, I want to say small batch guy. Um, and I'm telling you, he's making a good stick, guys. He's making a good stick. You probably would like to get your hands on a Don Emmanuel, and his website is Don Emmanuel. So there
No,
you go. And thank you,
I
friend.
guess if anything's worth trying, it's worth trying once. Let's see. Let's
I,
see.
I'm gonna. He sent me about 6 different cigars. He sent me the little shorties in the tin. So this week I'm gonna smoke the others, but I didn't want to smoke. I had a cigar yesterday, and I actually had a Davidoff Churchill, and the reason I didn't smoke a Don Emmanuel is because I was like, I want to do the first one live on the air, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But it's good. So, excuse me, I'm going to smoke the others this week. If anything changes, I'll let you know next week. But as of right now, I would recommend these. I'm okay with that. And if I recommend it, doesn't mean anything. But it's like my CAO Brazilians. Everyone knows I love it. This is a different flavor, a different feel to it's just a nice smoke. It's a nice smoke where I'd be like, I'm good with this. Like I would buy this at a store. So there you go. And I don't like to buy anything because I'm a Jew. So if I say I would buy it, it's a good thing. So Don, great smoke, my friend. Thank you so much for sending these. All right, please continue. Oh, we
No,
have
no. So,
Hal.
back to
Go
that
ahead.
question that
Yeah.
your audience member asked about pairing.
All right.
Pairing is, I think, is fluff. To be very honest with you, you should pair with this. You should
Right.
pair with the thing that you like to, the thing that increases your enjoyment of the moment. But technically, if you want pairings that highlight your cigar more, actually, you
Hmm.
need something that clears your palate.
Right.
And that's hence the Coca-Cola, because the fizzy water,
Right. Right.
the slight, it just removes. So every time you're hitting that cigar, or retrohaling, or
Right.
tasting, you can extract, or not extract, but you can taste the oils more in
Okay.
contrast. Um,
Then we
I
have
mean,
the fan that has
for example, you wouldn't pair a cigar with a milkshake,
no.
because the
No.
creaminess of the. So I'm giving you a
Right.
ridiculous example, right? But someone might say, I like milkshakes and cigars, right? There's not,
Right.
there's
Right. That's
if
up
they
to them.
do, and if you do like that, great. That's part
Yeah.
of your enjoyment. That's nothing to do with tasting a cigar. This is because you're
Right. Right.
enjoying yourself, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Um,
Well, here's something from a fan, if I may. He says, how do you educate your palate if you only smoke Cuban cigars? To me, the New World cigars improve your palate. What do you think about that?
how do you educate?
It's in the comment section. You can like read it. I'm just saying. It says, how do you educate your palate if you only smoke Cubans? And he's meaning cigars, I'm assuming. To me, the New World cigars or non-Cubans improve your palate. I think that's an interesting hypothesis.
Well,
What's your thoughts on that?
I can only give you the example I tend to give.
Right.
Well, there's a couple of examples. I've given them many, many times before.
Hmm.
Stop thinking about cigars. Think about
Right.
something else that makes sense. Cars. You can drive a Toyota. You can drive a
Right.
Ferrari. Okay, both cars have a function. Yeah,
Right.
a Toyota delivers every time. That's what a New World cigar does. But a
Right.
Toyota will not put a smile on your face the way a Ferrari will put a smile. Even though a Ferrari would break down from time to time, yeah, but the Ferrari put a smile on your face.
Right.
It'll put a smile on the face of other people who are looking at it. Some people will say, "Look, what a complete knob driving that Ferrari." You don't
Right.
care because you're in it, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, it's that kind of. I'm trying to give different examples to relate to people in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to exercise your palate for Cuban cigars, smoke every. Don't be a
Yeah.
snob. Don't be a snob. Give everything. If it's presented to you, or out of choice, or if you find yourself in a situation where I don't know, you're standing in a humidor where they don't sell Cuban cigars, try
Yeah.
something that catches your eye.
Yeah.
You might like it, you might not like it. There's no guarantees in life. It would be great every time you spent 30, 40, 50 pounds, £100 on a cigar that it was outstanding. From
Right.
time to time, you'll spend money and you will not be satisfied.
That is true.
It tends to happen for me less with Cuban cigars
Okay.
because from time to time you do get one that is plugged. You do have construction issues.
Right.
Having said that, I will give a shout out on this occasion, and only because this came up yesterday in conversation. I've only ever had one cigar from Tom Tom
Right.
that didn't smoke properly, and that was about a year and a half ago. So the reputability of cigar merchants and how they humidify and how much care and attention makes a difference because
Right.
it's not just how they do. it's also what sticks they select to give to you and how good a customer you are and how
Right.
good a relationship you have. If you're just walking fresh into a new cigar shop,
Right.
right? There's some chance, there's an increased chance you're going to get a bad product, yeah, and not because someone's trying to sell you a bad product. It's just it's an artisan product. I'm talking about
Right.
Cuban cigars, right? The New World cigars, generally speaking, have tried much harder, especially Davidoff. Davidoff specifically prides itself on the perfection of construction of
Yeah.
cigar, right? It's fucking rare, I hear, fucking rare to have a Davidoff cigar that doesn't smoke properly. The
That
fact
is
you might
true.
not enjoy the flavor, those are separate points. But in terms of construction, you get a cigar that is a very homogeneous cigar. That doesn't mean it's gay. It's a homogeneous cigar
Right.
that every time you smoke that cigar, a Davidoff cigar, the band that they have,
Right.
the reputability of the Davidoff band, the reputability is based on great building. So you have really amazing developers around the world,
Right.
construction companies. This particular construction company, the Davidoff Construction Company for cigars, makes a fucking good building, a fucking
Right.
good cigar. Okay? You may
Yeah.
not like the way it's decorated inside, you may not like the way it smells. That's your choice, right? But the building will have its integrity. And
Yep.
that's what the Davidoff brand has integrity of cigar.
Right.
And I believe that. I'm not someone who smokes a huge amount of Davidoff cigars, but I have. That's their marketing. That is their rationale. That is their activity. They produce a fucking good cigar. So when it comes to who is sending these messages, uh,
Painter.
uh, Nadir.
Yeah.
Type of cars don't improve your driving skills. Well, Nadir, it's only. I'm just trying to give you in terms of my head, I'm just trying to
Right.
convey a thought. You're absolutely right. I'm just trying to
So
convey
actually, I
some.
disagree with that. I disagree. A
Um,
Toyota, I hear, and here's why. If I drive
mm,
a Toyota, any Toyota, or
yeah,
even certain Mercedes, I can drive. I get behind my Bugatti or a Koenigsegg, or I get behind a supercar. Yes, my driving skills have to be at a certain level to drive 1600 horsepower. But cigars, that's a little different. To his point about if you try a New World and you try a Cuban, blah, 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 you get different palate tastes. You go, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. But cars are a different story. The more horsepower, the more skill you need. Now, if you're driving an older Ferrari, like a Testarossa or something, or a 250, no, it's like driving a car today, right? It's no big deal. But if you get into the new hyper and supercars that are six, 700, 1,000 horsepower, you have to have driving skills. So that's a little. I think it's a little different. I think.
well, I wasn't trying to compare like for like. I was giving sort of a general feeling of,
I
in a
got.
sense, of Cuba. Um, uh, when it comes to the technicals, if you can't smoke a Cuban cigar properly, you won't be able to
Right.
smoke a New World cigar properly.
That's
And
true.
generally speaking, smoking a cigar, in other words, really smoking a cigar is about generally the following things, okay? It's about how to extract the most amount of oils from the leaves into your mouth, into your
Right.
olfactory senses. Taste it, smell it, sense it, feel it. I mean, I'm talking at a technical level. I'm talking about people like, you have wine tasters. They're not there to
Right.
enjoy the wine. They're there to tell you what it's tasting, what the
Right.
notes are, how acidic, how dry, how wet, how fruity, right? So at a technical level, at any idiot, because my mum can smoke a cigar, but not
Right.
well, but
Right.
she'll hold it, right? That's
Yeah.
not posers who
Right.
sit in lounges with a cigar stuck there like a Kariba 40th anniversary,
Yeah. Yeah.
20,000 pound stick, but only smoke half the stick and put it down. That's not called smoking a cigar to
Right.
someone who technically proficiently smokes cigars every day. That's called posing.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Right. And you will find, I'll say something controversial ish here, and I don't mind saying it, yeah.
All
Most
right.
people, especially in the UK, that are smoking New World cigars are actually smoking price point, right? Because New
Yes,
World
we've
cigars
talked about that.
are
Yeah.
generally cheaper. But so that comes with some other consequences. The other thing is that there is a new breed of young smokers, sort of the 21-year-old to
Yeah. Yeah.
let's say 30-year-old entering the market. I find I personally find, you can argue, most of these are fucking posers. They're just there to try and engage in an activity they know fuck
Right.
all about.
Right.
Having said that, at least they're engaging, and that might start them on a journey. But most people, when they come into cigar smoking, how can you know everything when your journey is just starting? It's starting
Correct.
and you're
Yeah.
experimenting, right? So if Nader is looking for some feedback,
He
um,
agreed. I don't know what he agreed with, but he agreed with something. So
well,
give me a
no.
good
So
point.
if Nader is looking back, so I think the question he's posed is a good question.
Right.
To know your cigars, to know your wines, to know your cars, to know your
Right.
paintings, you just have to do more of them. And
Right.
actually doing a diverse range is a good way of exploring the world of cigars.
Right.
But if you the mentality that you have to have is not the posing sort of, oh, I'll try this, I'll just try this and blow some
Right.
smoke. You actually have to to know a cigar, in my personal opinion, you have to smoke it more than once normally.
I agree.
Okay,
Yep.
maybe
Three or
three
four
times.
times.
You
Yep.
have to smoke it in company. You have to smoke it on your own, and
Yep.
perhaps even in en plein air,
Yeah.
outside, right? Okay, to see how that changes. That is really if you want to get to know a
Right.
specific vitola or a
Right.
specific cigar. So smoke around, but smoke with the attitude of looking at the cigar, cutting it properly, focusing, making an effort. You have to make
Yeah.
an effort. You can't, and making an effort in company is slightly harder until you get
Right.
used to it, yeah? Because you get carried away in conversation and yes, it's a wonderful cigar without actually
Right.
knowing if it's a wonderful cigar.
Right. Right.
To get to know a cigar, you must at least smoke it once on your own. And
Yes. I agree with that.
you must smoke it with a view to what am I getting? I mean, if you consciously make that effort, I'm smoking a cigar. What am I tasting on my lips? If
Right.
you can do the retrohale is when you blow the smoke out through your nose slowly and then quickly. What is it I'm getting? Forget what everyone tells me.
Right.
Forget what I'm meant to get. What am I getting? First of
Correct.
all, am I enjoying it? Am I not enjoying it? Second of all, is it slightly woody? Is it slightly chocolatey? Is
Right.
it slightly fruity, peppery? I refer Nadir back to the tasting kit that Usman spoke about
Yep.
a few months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. That tasting kit. If you don't know your cigars, you don't know what you're looking for. This tasting kit gives you I think, I don't know, 12, 15 different
Yeah.
perfumes in a vial that you can have a quick sniff and say, did I get this? Did I get it? If you really want to go on that journey, if you really want to be intelligent and sound intelligent
Right.
around other people, or at the very least, just know what you're smoking and what you like,
Yeah.
you might end up, someone like Nader or whoever else is listening, might end up liking something that most people don't like, right?
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with that. You
Right.
really like your CAO Brazilian.
Yeah.
I can't remember having smoked that one, to be very honest
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Even Usman likes it. Everybody, it's really funny because when we talk about it and Usman's on, he gets excited, and everybody from Pakistan and everybody is like, "Oh my God, I love!" And like they all love that cigar. And I stumbled by mistake, and like I said, I like different. I smoke different cigars. I definitely like my Davidoffs. As I said, this Don Emmanuel I'm going to smoke the rest of what he gave me, but this could become a favorite. I mean, it's just a nice smoke. It's a nice draw. The flavors are good. I'm like, and the smell is good. It's like, okay, it's a proper cigar.
And
So
it's the
for
thing
me,
that it's the thing that suits with your palate, suits with your.
right?
I mean, so for example, McDonald's burgers are
Sure.
not considered high
Good.
quality burgers or
All right.
anything. It's a global brand. It's been around for, I don't know, 80 years, 70, 80
Yeah.
years now.
Yeah.
But because I, as a kid, and as a young teenager, well, as a kid, grew up in the late 70s, early 80s in the
Right.
UK, McDonald's was like our first global fast food franchise. That and Kentucky Fried Chicken, it was called at that time. Well, no, no, you say that, but these are golden memories of childhood because it's the thing that that I think they catch us very early, right? Because
Right.
the senses spot. As I say, McDonald's is not. It's a very. I don't know how to describe it. It's not. It's a quality product, but it's not high. It's a well-made product, but it's not a high quality product. Okay.
Okay.
So the quality is that the engineering of your Big Mac
Right.
is decades of engineering to get that food engineering to get that fits. You go to any you go to any airport in the world and you go to
Yeah.
the food section, but at McDonald's there'll be a line.
Well, Chick-fil-A too, there'll be a line.
Right, but you get the point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
McDonald's engineering has managed to hit the palate of the most number of people. So they've engineered it. So there's quality engineering.
Right.
The product is not high quality product. It's not
Right,
the
right,
best beef. It's not the best bread. It's not the best lettuce. It's just a product that hits. And that suits my palate. So you
right,
can offer me a 50 pound, a 100 pound burger,
right,
gourmet burger. I will say, I will say that's absolutely ridiculous because I can get a better hit out of a 5 pound McDonald's burger, right?
right, right,
Come back to cigars. You will have connoisseurs and aficionados and enthusiasts and complete knobends who will go on and on about how Cuban cigars are far more sophisticated and
right,
aromatic, and that includes me. My jury is not out on this. I think Cuban cigars are out fucking standing. There's that
right.
product. We've had this discussion many times, so I don't need
Yep.
to go over that ground. But that doesn't stop people finding their niche
Right.
in totally shit New World cigars. If that's what you enjoy, that's what you enjoy.
I
No,
was
no, no.
waiting for that. That's not bad.
I'm quite serious. If
Right.
you enjoy crappy, shitty New World
Mm,
cigars,
well,
great for you. You're going to save a lot of money. You're going to enjoy yourself at a much, much lower price point. Good for you.
but not all New World, not non-Cubans. We'll just call them not all non-Cuban cigars are crappy and whatever. You have your
Generally, they
state.
are.
Okay.
Because I'm qualified to say that because if you know that there's 27 Cuban brands
Right,
and
right.
non New World cigar brands, there's
2,700. So,
thousands,
yeah.
thousands. There's
Right, right,
no end of people that are making cigars, branding cigars, their
right,
own mix. Thousands, right?
right,
Cubans is just 27,
right,
right? So by percentage,
right,
there's more crappy New World cigars, and there are good
right.
ones.
All right.
You find good ones as
Right.
well. I cannot complain one iota about the Davidoffs that I've smoked recently.
Right.
They just, I think it
Hit
came
the
across
mark.
in my delivery. They're just
Yeah.
really surprisingly good,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
And if there's any encouragement to be offered, is uh, I think, and it's only one man's opinion. Go out and
right.
smoke what you feel like smoking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not pretentious enough to say my opinion is the be all. I'm not a history. I'm not a professor of cigars. I'm
Right.
not an aficionado. I'm a customer that smokes a lot of cigars.
Right.
If customer feedback is anything to go by, I've smoked a lot of them. The Cubans are the
Hmm.
best, and the Davidoffs seem to be quite good, very
Yeah.
good, extraordinarily good. Let me put it say extraordinarily good. If you cannot, so there is no question in my mind why Davidoff is so massive in the USA.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a great
it's
smoke.
it's basically the best fucking cigar legally that you're gonna get in the UK, and not by a little, by a fucking long way.
Well, also a 1926 Padron, according to our sommelier, will also tell you that's the next closest one to a Cuban cigar as well. I like the 1926s. They're very nice, but I do
I'm
like
not
the Davidoff.
not
You haven't
qualified to
smoked
speak on
them.
that. I
Yeah.
haven't smoked them. I haven't
I've
smoked
smoked,
them.
yeah. I try to only speak of the stuff I've smoked because going off on something I don't know. But yeah, the Padrones are a great smoke. The Davidoffs I always enjoy. Um, and like I said, for my daily stick, if you will, lack of a better, the New York term, a CAO Brazilian's $5, $6 a stick. It's like okay, and
Yeah,
it's
when
like
you
it's a great smoke. And
when
it
you
doesn't matter how much money you have. It's just I enjoy it. And when I'm in Dubai and I have to buy my Cubans, I go to the chemist and we go down to the secret Cuban room and we know we haggle because I'm Jewish. I have to haggle and they like it. And we go back and forth and I get a good price on my Cubans and then I smoke my Cubans. So
and and, coming back to this Padron and Davidoff thing,
yeah,
if you are an American based cigar smoker, but you are a little bit more of an Anglophile and a Europhile,
Right.
Davidoff is the cigar that will probably tickle your
Yes.
palate, because apart from the cigars themselves, apart from the reputability, actually what it comes with is this very British, Swiss
Yeah.
kind of association, historical association, Zeno Davidoff
Right.
and London. You get, it's that very Kirby Allison kind of like sort of
Yep.
like Englishman, sorry, American
American
abroad in
abroad.
London,
Yeah.
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 It comes with if you're smoking a Davidoff cigar in a sort of a, I would imagine, a New York cigar room or something like that,
You mean how
it
about
says
Davidoff, New
something
York?
about you. It
Go to
says something
Davidoff, New
about
York.
you.
Right.
Sorry.
I go to Davidoff and you go to the city. There's a Davidoff in Williamsburg, and there's a Davidoff in the city. You go to the lounge at Davidoff Lounge. You smoke your Davidoff.
Right. So the Davidoff credibility, so I'm going beyond the cigar itself. It comes with a sort of a panache, a sort
Hmm.
of you know, expensive British tailoring,
All right.
London old school, but also the Swiss thing, the Swiss made, the
Right.
Swiss engineered. So with engineering as regards to cigar, you get that as a package in that
Yes.
in that product. Okay,
Right.
so that product is packaged that way. So there's many elements. There's the product itself. There's the packaging. There's the mystique is the word I was looking for that comes
Right.
with it. If that's what you buy into, that's a fucking good product. It's a
Right.
fucking good product.
I just enjoy the
Uh,
cigar. I don't buy into any of that. That's my problem. I'm very much as we've talked off air. I just enjoy my cigar and by myself with the dog, and I'm like, I'm happy. And if I smoke with my mates like you and whoever in person, I'm good with that. But when I smoke in America, I don't smoke with anybody really. I just enjoy. So if I like a Davidoff, cool. Like, but see, I buy my box of Davidoff, it goes into the humidor. I buy my box of CAO, it goes in the humidor. I'll buy Don Emmanuel, it'll go into a humidor. So everything goes in. I just pick whatever I'm in the mood for the day because everything if will taste a little differently, smokes a little differently, and instills different, if you will, memories, for lack of a better term. Oh,
so let
let's
me
look
give
at
you a
this.
reminder.
Yeah,
Uh, if I can get the focus correct on that.
there you go.
There you go. The Davidoff Escurio.
Okay.
I can only recommend this one to you. I recommend you
Okay.
smoke this. I recommend
I
it.
will. I'm going to go try
I
to get one
smoked it. I've
today.
smoked it once. Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to get one today.
Because you can. Because in
I
the
know.
US you can get it.
Yeah.
I believe it's for sale in the UK from today. I think that's what the
Okay.
marketing is about. I believe. Um, I've tried it. I smoked it. I smoked it with a surprised look on my face. Um, I had Mustafa to my right, Jal to my left, Christian
Right.
to my right.
Well, I just sound like a
We
song all of
all
a sudden.
no. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to set this up for a visual
Mm,
thing that everyone
mm,
was smoking it with a bit of a surprised look on their face. Um, uh, me especially.
right. Right.
So I recommend it. Try it
Yeah.
and see what you get out of it.
I agree. 1,000%. You have to try new things. Davidoff, I've never had a Davidoff fail me. So I like the fact
There you
about
go. That's
that.
the construct. There's the sort of like
Yeah.
perfection of construction.
Oh, they're the friendly Nazis. I get it. But yeah, I've never had a Davidoff fail me, and I love them. I love their brand. But I smoke. I seem to go for the Churchill and the late evening, and just the regular Churchills. Um, I don't know if that's because I'm a Churchill fan or I just enjoy the smoke, but I do. That's the one I lean towards. The Padrones, I lean towards the CAO Brazilian, and that's when I said it the other day, and I bumped into someone. They go, "CAO, they're the worst." I go, "Yes, but if you listen to what I say." CAO Brazilian Amazon. That's the only CAO that I
Right.
smoke. I'm not impressed with any of their other cigars.
I mean, that's all credit to you.
Yeah.
Within a shit bunch of cigars, you found
Yes.
no. You found a little niche,
Hmm.
and that takes time and patience. And good for you because you've derived the benefit of that.
Yeah.
You have to sift through a lot of rubbish to get
Yeah.
gold, if you know what
Yes.
I mean.
Yep.
And most people don't know how to do it. And the way of doing it is to physically sift through it. And
Yep.
because that also gives you some qualification as to I've tried it, I didn't like it,
Right.
as opposed to sounding like I don't want to try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I've said many times, I'll happily try something, I expect it to be rubbish, and I would be pleasantly surprised if it isn't.
Yep. So far with the Davidoff you smoked, the Year of the Snake was, like I said, your 2024 cigar of the year.
Hmm.
You were like, oh my God, like, and this was next Davidoff. So I think Davidoff for you is your non-Cuban, could be your non-Cuban go-to because you seem
I,
to
I
like those.
I can agree. I can agree with this
Yeah.
because there is another Davidoff owned cigar brand, Camacho, which
Right.
I've
You like
mentioned to
that
you
one.
before. Right. So the reason I like it is perhaps this, not the exact same reason, but the crossover is that the construction is always excellent.
Right.
You're going to spend £20, £25, and not here. I don't smoke Camachos here. Maybe once or twice I've smoked them here, but they're
Right.
normally when I go to a place like Pakistan where if I walk into a cigar shop, they don't have many Cubans,
Right.
and the Cubans they have may not be at great, you know, humidity level. Picking up a New World cigar uh, is a good alternative there because you know the construct. At least you know construction is going to be pretty on the mark, yeah.
Right.
And then
Right.
if Camacho, which is a Davidoff owned brand,
Right.
comes with that reputability that I can pick this cigar up and it will smoke properly. So
Right.
I won't have wasted my money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
each to their own, but you've got to smoke through some good cigars, bad cigars, different cigars to come to an understanding of what you like.
Right. And it's not
So,
price. And we try to tell people that as well. We talked about that Rocky Patel whatever anniversary that was $100 a stick. And I remember I thought it was the worst cigar I've ever had. And we were talking about guys like I bought a box that should tell you something. I'm like, I don't know you, so that doesn't tell me anything other than you're an idiot. And so, and that's the other thing is if someone asks you about the cigar you're smoking, we don't care if you bought a box. We don't care whatever. All I want to know is it a good smoke and why? Like if someone says, why do you like this cigar? I'll tell you why. All this guy was like, I bought a big guy. Good for you. Do you know what I mean?
I
So
think
that's
I
probably an
think
issue.
if you watch enough people
Right.
and you spend time around people enough to see them smoking whilst you're
Mhm.
smoking, which I think I do,
Right.
you can tell from how someone picks a cigar up, looks at it, cuts it, lights it, or
Smells
doesn't do
it.
those things,
Right.
smells it, smokes it. Like in that first minute, you can gauge a lot. If you actually were to if you were to be a fly on the wall and watch them, you could
Yeah.
tell a lot about whether they know something about cigars or not.
Right.
And most people, most people don't.
Right. Because they were never taught.
That's not to be critical. Most people
Right.
are starting their journey or on the
Right.
beginning of their journey, but there is a lot of those people who just don't who just think it's cigar. It's just something you light and you go ha 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 ha. That's it.
That's true. That's true. I agree
The
with you.
really discerning cigar smokers will find even when you're sitting in a group, they'll go a little
Yeah.
bit quiet. They'll squint their eyes. They'll see what am I getting out of this.
Hmm.
They'll do the long retro hair. You can see that. You can see when someone is fixated on the cigar. You can see it.
Right.
It's not often. I'm very, very lucky that I sit in specific places with specific company, and that company is a very well vetted, very sort of like well curated bunch of people. Not many people, very few people,
Right. Right.
and they all know what cigars are about, and they're
That's true.
all searching for that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a sort of like a masterclass. I've
Mhm.
been around long enough that I'm now sitting with people who who are who really are up there, and I
Yeah.
learn a lot from them by watching
Right.
them. I would like to think they learn something from me, but I think that's a waste of time. The that is a journey. That is and I so the take I can give you a bit of a takeaway. You need to vet your cigar smoking circle. I put this up on my stories from time to time.
Yeah.
It's not just a cigar. It's not just a pairing. Actually, it's the people you smoke with
Hmm.
can affect your cigar smoking journey significantly, especially
Yep.
if they know their stuff or are very much further along on their journey.
Yeah.
Smoke with people who are better than you. Play
Yep.
chess against opponents that are better than you.
And there, or go, as I like to play, because go takes,
Oh God.
more fun. So I agree. I think that's good. That was a good show today.
you.
Look at us. We wax words of wisdom without what's his face, that guy that forgot to show up because he only had 168 hours to plan for the show. Apparently, he couldn't make it.
Homework,
So
missing homework, missing
missing
homework.
homework, or it's that Viagra problem again. I think it's the Viagra. He takes too many. He's got to stop. I don't know. And
Yeah.
every time we say that, he hates that because then we get a text message about it.
Well, I've never said it. You're the only one who says it.
I know that's why I say it because it's just fun. Because I bet he's driving now and he hears that. He goes, "Oh, sir, I hate that." So there you go. So, but now that he's a big star in Cuba, and we're just little people, and we didn't get invited to the Habano Festival, and he gets invited to all these things around the world. Yeah, when the king comes on next week, if we're blessed with his presence, we'll have to fan him and bow. You know how it works. All the fans, they'll be happy.
Ego massaging.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. It's just us two little guys and the guy with the big ego. What are you going to do?
Well, you're lucky I don't have an ego.
No, you are the most grounded person I know, other than myself. So it's
I just like
a
to go
perfect
out
show.
hunting. I just like to go out hunting. That's all.
Yes, and that's why you did sermon. For you guys that want to see Riza in rare form, go to our playlist
It's
and
not
look for
rare. That's just
sermon
me
on the
normal.
German.
That's normal me. That's just
I know,
normal
but it
me.
was fun because when you do it with Brown Car Guy and Vicky, it's fun to watch because they're not. I mean, Brown Car Guy's used to. Vicky's really not. So it's just fun to watch that whole dynamic.
Doesn't know where it's gonna go. Doesn't know where
Yeah,
it's gonna
so
go.
that
It's
was
sort of
it.
like
That
it's
was a very
very
good show.
edgy. It's edgy.
Hmm.
It could it be this way? Could it be this way? Could it be this way?
So we put out those shorts. They're good. More to come. We have a short coming out next week of Riz's cigar band collection. That'll be coming out next week. So I think it's on the 12th. So that short's coming out.
Which
Oh,
which one is this? This is the
the
one I
one.
sent you yesterday.
Yeah, the one you sent me with all 50,000 cigar band. That's going to be out on the 12th, I think, as a short.
There we go.
We're gonna have the fans can watch that. And if you want to see any of the cigar shows, or for the gentleman that we were talking about, Usman's tasting kit, go to the playlist, look for Habanos Saturday or Habano Drink and Cigar Show. Same thing. You can find it. Riza did it, or I'm sorry, Usman did it probably about 5 or 6 shows ago, and he did it 5 or 6 shows back. If you want to see Riza on a different show, you can look for Sermon on the German, and the latest Sermon on the German has Riza, being Riza.
Interrupting.
Well, being Riza. And there you go. And other than that,
Mm.
guys, I think we're done. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for watching live. We'll rebroadcast the show later. You catch us wherever you get your podcasts as well. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And once again, I want to thank Don Emmanuel for his cigar. It's still going. It tastes wonderful. It's a good smoke. And I would definitely recommend this for anybody who thinks my recommendations are worth anything. But yeah, it's a great smoke. Kudos
Worth a
to
try.
you, Don.
Worth a try.
Kudos to you, Don, for doing this. Good smoke. Good smoke. All right. Riz, as always, it's a pleasure. Hang out after. You know the drill. Maybe. Mwah. Everybody, always good to see you. And as we say, Geo, everybody.
Gio.
Cheers.